welcome. Isn't that a wonderful smell? New hand sanitizer, pineapple and coconut. There we go. How are you doing today? Okay. Well, I hope at the time you leave this examination today, you feel even just the littlest bit better. So my name is Dr. Calliope, and I'm going to be performing a very special examination today with you, okay? Would you mind just confirming your name and your date of birth for me? Excellent. And is that your preferred name, and how do you like to be addressed? Excellent. All right. I'd just like to ask you a few medical history questions, if you don't mind. Okay. So, firstly, are you in any current pain or have any current illness at all? Okay, excellent. And any changes to the medical history that we have on file? Okay. Excellent. And what about your family history? Everything still good there? Great, that's great. Okay, and any changes to your allergies at all? Okay. Excellent. And what about your medication list? Anything new? Any changes there? Okay. Excellent. So that's all I need from you information-wise. So today we're going to be doing an auscultation, percussion, and palpation examination. And just as the name suggests, we're going to be auscultating or listening. It's a very professional medical term for listening. We're going to be percussing, which is when I take my hand and put it on a body part and tap on it so I can listen to the sounds that come back. And palpation, which is going to be touching you, okay? So there are quite a few different places on your body that we can perform this examination. So we're just going to run through everything. It'll be nice, simple, and easy, okay? All right, I'm gonna pop on some gloves real quick. So for this examination, I am going to need to be touching you. Is that okay with you? Do I have your permission to do that? Okay, great. All right, smells like a tropical getaway in here. That pineapple coconut sanitizer really does the trick, huh? All right. So, we've got some gloves on, and we're going to start with auscultation. So, instead of running through everything we can auscultate all at once, we'll go section by section. So, we'll do auscultation, percussion, and then palpation on each specific system. Okay? So for auscultation, we need our stethoscope. I'm just going to pop that in. And the first thing we can start with is your chest. We can auscultate your heart and your lungs. Okay? All right, so all you need to do for me is just relax, okay, and take normal breaths, all right? I will prompt you if I need you to take a breath in or out, but for now, just breathe normally, okay? So I'm just going to put the stethoscope on your chest here, and we're going to start by listening into your heart, the cardiovascular system. So we're going to listen to each of the valves of your heart. The mitral, the tricuspid, the pulmonary, the aortic. And I'm listening for any abnormal sounds, like a heart murmur. I'm listening for how the beats sound. Okay, just taking it nice and slow. Listening to the atria, listening to the ventricles, the aorta. Just real relaxed here. Okay, and I'm just going to come onto your side here, so by your rib cage. Okay, just along the rib cage. And we're just taking a nice slow listen. All right, so we've completed our auscultation. So now we're going to do some percussion. We don't necessarily have to do any percussion on the cardiovascular system, but for the sake of the examination, we're going to, okay? So I'm just going to start a little bit above here, okay? Moving along the rib cage in strips. Okay. Okay. Doing okay so far? Okay, very good. So now comes the palpation. Now, when we're working with the cardiovascular system, we're working with the heart. What I'm doing when I'm palpating is I'm feeling around your rib cage. I'm feeling for any heaves or thrills. So that's different types of heart abnormalities that one can feel with their hands. So I'm going to start by mapping out your apex beat, which is the mid-clavicular line, so right here, and then we go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 intercostal spaces, and we'll just wait here for a moment. We'll feel that apex beat. There we go. Okay, so feel for heaves and thrills. I'm going to use different parts of my hand to feel for those abnormal beats. Okay, I'm going to use the heel of my hand here Alright, now I'm just going to feel around a little. Just very gently so that when we go into listening around your lungs, we're not aggravating anything. So, I think we'll do a little bit more palpation with feeling your lungs. So we'll feel for any bulges or any cave-ins in the chest wall. But right now, just doing a little bit of palpation. Okay, I'm going to put my stethoscope back on and we're going to move to our respiratory system, or your lungs. Alright, so this is where I'm going to have you take some deep breaths for me. So I'm going to place the stethoscope onto your chest, and I want you to take a deep breath when I prompt you, okay? So, take a deep breath in and out. Good. Deep breath in and out. 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 Very good. Okay. So I'm just going to have you breathe normally. I'm just going to listen around your lungs. So primarily what I'm looking for is any abnormal lung sounds. There wasn't any crackling or wheezing in the lungs, which is good. It doesn't sound like there's any obstruction. You're able to breathe in fully and exhale fully. Just keep breathing normally. Okay. Okay. Okay, very good. All right. So now we're going to do a little percussion. So I'm going to have you breathe normally, and I'm going to be doing quite a bit of percussion over the front part of the chest wall. And oftentimes what this is used for is determining if there is fluid in places there shouldn't be, or if there isn't fluid in places there should be. So that's what we're going to be listening to. If your auscultation serves any sort of indication, you probably don't have any of those problems, but we like to be thorough. and we're going to do some of that palpation. However, it's going to be a little more extensive. As I said before, we want to primarily focus on if there's any deformity in the chest wall. So I'm just going to be feeling all around your chest here. So the funny thing about percussion is it's one of the older types of diagnosis, and it didn't used to be that you tapped on your hands. It used to be that they actually put force on the person themselves without a buffer, and that was pretty painful, obviously. And eventually they figured out that they could do the same thing while not hurting the person nearly as much. But that's been used quite a bit, and I imagine it was used quite thoroughly with things like tuberculosis. So seeing as that was one of the biggest major disasters in the world's history, and was up until very recently. It's funny how we think that it was, 200 years ago people would die of consumption, but it's actually fairly recently that it really started to decline. I know people who have had tuberculosis, which is funny. It's not nearly as serious as it used to be. It's treatable, which is excellent. But one would need percussion to determine if the lungs were holding fluid, if one had tuberculosis. So I'm not finding any deformity in the chest wall, which is good. There's no bulges where there shouldn't be. There's no valleys where there shouldn't be. So now we're going to do a little detour here, a little mini side quest, if you will. And I'm going to listen to and palpate your carotid arteries in your neck. We're not going to do any percussion. That's not needed in this particular scenario, and that would be pretty uncomfortable as well. So we're just going to stick with auscultation and percussion. So I'm going to pop in my stethoscope, and I am going to prompt you how to breathe with this one. So if you could just turn your head to one side. Good. Okay. So if you could take a deep breath in for me, and hold it. Okay, go ahead and exhale. Take a deep breath in for me, and hold it. And exhale. And take a deep breath in for me, and hold it. And exhale. Okay. So what I'm listening for with your carotid artery is I'm listening for bruits, which are audible heart murmurs. So I'm going to have you turn your head to the other side. Okay. Take a deep breath in. And hold. And exhale. exhale. Very good. So, that's very good. And now we're going to do a little bit of palpation. This might be a touch uncomfortable, okay? I'm just going to feel each side of your neck here. So normally, the stethoscope that I would use, in addition to having this flat part, it would also have another head on it, and that would be the bell. But we're just doing something real simple here. The two different sides of the stethoscope are better for hearing certain frequencies or certain sounds, lower sounds, higher sounds. I'm gonna have you turn your head. I'll feel the other side. But this is just real simple and easy for us today. Real simple, real easy. Okay, very good. So you can go ahead and look straight ahead. All right. Need a minute? Are you doing okay? Okay. So we're going to move on to your abdomen now. And then lastly, we'll go ahead and take a listen and a look at your back. Okay. So we're going to do our auscultation first, then our percussion, and then we'll do some palpation. So with auscultation, we're listening to your different digestive organs primarily. So if you want to just lay back a bit for me. There you go. Okay. So I'm just going to be listening to all over your abdomen here. Doing okay? Okay. It can be a little uncomfortable just having somebody listening to you. And in order to listen well, there's a bit of a limit on conversation. But when we get into palpation, it won't be like that. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do some of our percussion. And in this case, we use percussion primarily to map the borders of your organs. So there's going to be certain sounds where perhaps your liver is. There's going to be other sounds where perhaps your intestines are. So it's really quite interesting to be able to map the body using only sound. Isn't it? Yeah, real neat little thing. The world works in fascinating ways. I often tell people that I hear from ultrasound techs, and they could be taking a break or in the hallway, and someone else is running the ultrasound machine. And just based on the sounds, they can tell what's going on, what's being looked at, and what might have been found. I find that absolutely fascinating to be trained to hear those little variations. Just like when we're testing the borders of the abdomen. Like here. Bit of a different sound, right? So that is where one of your organs is, as opposed to a little bit more empty space. We're just listening around. Quite a bit of percussion, but there's a lot of real estate happening. We're going to move on to palpation. We're going to do 2 types of palpation. First, we're going to do a light pressure, and then we're going to do a deep pressure. So for the deep, it can be a little uncomfortable. I just want you to be aware of that. Have you had any pain or tenderness in your abdomen at all? Okay, please let me know if you do, okay? That's very important. So now we're going to be actually feeling your organs. So we're going to start with the light palpation. Just let me know if there's any pain or any tenderness at all. Thoroughly checking your whole abdomen. Using a two-handed approach here. We're going to go ahead and do our deep pressure, okay? So just try to breathe normally through it. It doesn't take too terribly long, okay? Alright. This is where we put a bit of weight into it. And again, just let me know if you feel any pain or tenderness, sharp, dull, what have you, okay? So that's it on that part, okay? So you can take a few moments just to take a little break, okay? I know that's not fun, but I'll give you just a moment. While you're doing that, I'll just go ahead and write down some of our results so far. So we've taken a little listen and done all the bits with your heart, your lungs, your carotid, and your abdomen. Okay? So lastly, we're going to do all of that, but we're going to do it on your back. So I'll be feeling around, listening to, percussing primarily your lungs, and then we will get a little further down. So generally what you're feeling back here is the kidneys are the biggest organ that we're looking at, okay? So I'm going to be out of view for a little bit. I will come back, of course, but I want you to know that, okay? So I'm just going to pop around you. Okay, so we are going to start with our auscultation. I'm going to pop my stethoscope in, and then I'm just going to be taking a listen to your back. So I'm going to tell you when to breathe, okay? So take a deep breath in and out. 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 Lastly, deep breath in and out. Okay, take out the stethoscope and we are going to do our percussion on your lungs, okay? So. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and do our auscultation, or rather, we're going to do our palpation since we've already done our percussion and auscultation. So just like the front of the chest wall, I want to be feeling for any deformities. So I'm just going to take my hands and work along your back. And see if there are any abnormalities. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to our last part. And this is where I'm going to do our auscultation, our percussion, and our palpation below the rib cage. I'm going to pop in the stethoscope, and I'm just going to place it on your mid back, and it'll go down to your lower back. So you can just breathe normally for this part, okay? All right. Just taking a little listen while you breathe normally. Sounds are a little more muted back here. Have to listen a little harder. Okay, and then we're going to do some percussion. So I want you to let me know if there's any pain or any tenderness, okay? Especially since we're dealing with the kidneys back here. So just going to start percussing on your back. Okay, now we're going to finally do our palpation. So again, let me know if there's any tenderness. We're going to start below the rib cage and work down to the low back. I'm going to go ahead and come back to the front. All right, and here we are again. So how are you feeling so far? Okay, so I just want to take some notes regarding back of the lungs and back of your abdomen. Covers it. So I'm just going to put my stethoscope away. So that about covers our examination today. I didn't find anything out of the ordinary. Your lungs, your heart, your abdomen, your back, your neck, everything sounds normal, okay? I didn't find anything that we would have to be concerned of, okay? You have any questions, comments, or concerns for me? Okay, I'm just going to sign off on your examination sheet here. Okay, and we're all good to go, okay? So thank you so much for coming to me for this examination. I hope that it was relaxing for you. Appreciate you being here. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you.